Have you ever caught yourself scrolling through social media or watching yet another episode of your favorite show, only to realize hours have passed and you haven't made any progress on your to-do list? Trust me, I've been there. Procrastination used to be my go-to move when I faced tasks that seemed overwhelming or just plain boring. But over time, I figured out how to break free from the procrastination cycle, and today, I'm going to share the 3 simple steps I used to conquer it. These steps not only help me regain control over my productivity but also save me from the stress and anxiety that come with putting things off. So, if you're ready to stop procrastinating and start taking action, let's dive in. Procrastination isn't just about laziness. It's a complex issue tied to emotions, fears, and even a bit of science. According to a study published in the Psychological Bulletin, procrastination is often driven by the fear of failure, perfectionism, or an overwhelming sense of the task at hand. It's not uncommon for us to avoid work because we're afraid we won't do it well, or we worry about how long it will take. But procrastination doesn't just harm our productivity, it also negatively impacts our mental health. Research from the Journal of Behavioral Medicine shows that procrastination is strongly correlated with increased stress, anxiety, and even poor sleep. So, how do we break the cycle? It's not as difficult as it seems if you take the right steps. Let me walk you through the 3 strategies that worked for me. Step 1. Break the task down into manageable pieces. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly effective. When I was facing a big task, like writing an article or preparing for a presentation, I used to get paralyzed by the sheer size of it. It was like looking at a mountain and wondering how I was ever going to climb it. But I realized that breaking down big tasks into smaller, bite-sized pieces made a world of difference. For example, instead of thinking, I need to finish this entire blog post, I would set smaller, more specific goals like, write the introduction, or research one section. By focusing on smaller tasks, I removed the overwhelming pressure and made the project feel much more achievable. Studies in cognitive therapy and research support this approach, showing that breaking tasks into smaller chunks reduces anxiety and helps increase motivation. And here's the thing. Once you complete one small part, it creates momentum, and before you know it, you've made a lot of progress. Step 2. Use the 5-minute rule now. Here's something I was skeptical about at first. Setting a timer for just 5 minutes seemed too short to make a real impact. But let me tell you, it works. By committing to just 5 minutes of focused work, you trick your brain into thinking it's not such a big deal to get started. I'd set the timer, telling myself that I only had to work on the task for 5 minutes, and once the timer went off, I could stop. Here's what happens. After 5 minutes, you've already overcome the hardest part, getting started. More often than not, I ended up working for much longer, because the momentum kicked in, and my brain was engaged. This technique is grounded in behavioral psychology, particularly in the concept of the Zeigarnik effect, which shows that our minds have an innate tendency to want to complete tasks once we've started them. So, even if you don't feel like working, giving yourself permission to stop after 5 minutes is often enough to get you into the zone and push through the procrastination. Step 3. Reward yourself for progress. One of the biggest lessons I learned was to use rewards to my advantage. We all know that our brains love rewards, so I decided to make my workday more enjoyable by creating a reward system for myself. After completing a task or hitting a milestone, I'd give myself a small treat. It could be a 10-minute break to go outside, a cup of my favorite coffee, or even a quick chat with a friend. The key is that the reward doesn't need to be huge. What matters is that it reinforces positive behavior and helps train your brain to associate completing tasks with something enjoyable. Research from the Journal of Neuroscience highlights how positive reinforcement can boost motivation and productivity. Over time, this reward system helped me shift my mindset from, I have to work, to, I get to work, because I knew there was something to look forward to after finishing each task. Bonus tip. The power of self-compassion. Procrastination is often fueled by guilt, shame, or the fear of failure, which can make it harder to take action. One thing that helped me break free from this cycle was practicing self-compassion. Instead of beating myself up when I procrastinated, I started treating myself with kindness. I acknowledged that it was okay to have moments of struggle, but I wouldn't let those moments define me. This shift in mindset made it easier for me to get back on track without getting stuck in a cycle of negative self-talk. According to Psychology Today, practicing self-compassion can reduce procrastination by helping individuals manage the negative emotions associated with tasks, making it easier to move forward. So, those are the 3 steps that helped me beat procrastination, and I hope they help you too. Break big tasks into smaller steps, use the 5-minute rule to get started, and reward yourself for progress. It's not about being perfect, it's about taking consistent, manageable steps toward your goals. I promise, if you implement these strategies, you'll start seeing a shift in how you approach tasks, and most importantly, how much more you get done. If you're struggling with procrastination and want to dive deeper into productivity techniques, be sure to check out the full article linked below. Trust me, it's worth reading, and you'll find even more tips to help you conquer procrastination for good.